December 13, 2025. Saturday night. Pacific Palisades, California. Conan O'Brien is hosting his annual Christmas party. If you know anything about Hollywood, you know this party is legendary. Every year, the biggest names in comedy show up. Adam Sandler, Billy Crystal, Larry David, Bill Hader, Martin Short. It's the kind of party where you can't walk 5 feet without bumping into someone famous. Tonight, Rob Reiner is here. If you don't recognize the name, you definitely know his work. Rob directed some of the most iconic films of the past 40 years, The Princess Bride, When Harry Met Sally, Stand By Me, A Few Good Men. This is Spinal Tap. He's a legend. 78 years old. Still sharp. Still funny. Still one of the most beloved figures in Hollywood. His wife, Michele Reiner, is with him. She's a photographer and producer. 70 years old. Beautiful. Kind. Passionate about LGBTQ rights. They've been married since 1989. 36 years together. 3 children. Tonight, they brought one of their sons with them. His name is Nick Reiner. He's 32 years old, and as the party goes on, people start noticing something's off about Nick. He's standing alone, staring at people, not socializing, just watching. At one point, Nick walks up to Bill Hader, who's having a conversation with 2 other guests. Nick interrupts, just barges into the conversation. Bill Hader politely says, "Hey, this is a private conversation." Nick doesn't respond. He just stands there, staring at Bill. Silent. Then, after a long, uncomfortable pause, Nick storms off. People nearby exchange glances. That was weird. Other guests report that Nick is walking around asking random people, "Are you famous?" He's making people uncomfortable. Eavesdropping on conversations. Acting erratic, and at some point during the night, Nick and his father Rob get into an argument. It's loud. Loud enough that multiple people hear it. Rob is upset with Nick, embarrassed by his behavior. Eventually, Rob and Michele decide to leave. It's late. They're tired. And Nick has made things awkward. They head home to their house in Brentwood. It's about 15 minutes away. They arrive home sometime around midnight, and then, in the early morning hours of December 14th, less than 12 hours later, Rob and Michele Reiner are brutally murdered, stabbed to death in their own home, and their son Nick. He's arrested that same day, charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder. This is the story of Rob and Michele Reiner, a Hollywood tragedy that shocked the entire world. The father and mother, killed by the son they brought to a Christmas party just hours before. This case involves stabbing, mental illness, drug addiction, and the murder of beloved public figures. Viewer discretion advised. Welcome to Case Unknown. This is different from our usual cases. Rob Reiner wasn't just a victim. He was an icon. A man who shaped American cinema. A director whose films are etched into our collective memory. And Michele Reiner was a talented photographer and advocate who spent her life fighting for equality. On December 14, 2025, they were found stabbed to death in their home. Their son Nick is charged with their murders. And the question everyone is asking is, how did it come to this? This is the story of the Reiner murders. Let's begin. Rob Reiner, the director. If you grew up in the 80s or 90s, Rob Reiner's films were part of your childhood. Stand By Me, 1986, a coming-of-age masterpiece about 4 boys searching for a dead body. The Princess Bride, 1987, As You Wish. Hello. My name is Inigo Montoya. When Harry Met Sally, 1989, I'll Have What She's Having, A Few Good Men, 1992, You Can't Handle the Truth. This is Spinal Tap, 1984, the greatest mockumentary ever made. 7 classics. In less than 10 years, if you made just one of those films, you'd be considered successful. Rob made 7. He wasn't just a director. He was a cultural force. Rob Reiner, the person, but Rob wasn't just about movies, he was deeply political. Outspoken. Passionate about social justice. He used his platform to advocate for causes he believed in. He was also a devoted family man. Rob had been married before, to actress and director Penny Marshall. They divorced in 1981. Together, they had adopted Penny's daughter, Tracy. In 1989, Rob married Michele Singer. A photographer. A producer. An activist for LGBTQ rights. They had 3 children together: Jake, oldest son; Nick, middle son, born 1993; Romy, youngest daughter. By all accounts, Rob and Michele were a loving couple. They supported each other. They were partners, but one of their children, Nick, struggled. Nick Reiner, the troubled son. From a young age, Nick had problems. He started using drugs as a teenager. By age 14, he was in rehab. Age 15, in and out of rehab. By age 30, Nick had been to rehab 18 times. That's not a typo. 18, he struggled with addiction. With mental health. With schizophrenia. In 2015, when Nick was 22, he co-wrote a film called Being Charlie. It was inspired by his own life. His struggles with addiction. His complicated relationship with his father. Rob directed the film. It was a father-son collaboration. For a moment, it seemed like Nick was turning things around, but the addiction kept pulling him back. In 2020, Nick was placed in a mental health conservatorship. This means a court determined that Nick was unable to care for himself. A conservator, Stephen Bear, was appointed to make decisions for him. The conservatorship lasted from 2020 to 2021. When it ended, Nick was released back into the world. Living with his parents. Trying to stay clean, but Rob and Michele were worried, really worried. Friends say Rob and Michele were scared for Nick. Scared his mental state was deteriorating. They wanted him to go to a facility for treatment. But Nick refused. He wanted to get help while staying at home. They argued about it for years. And by December 2025, things were getting worse. December 13, 2025. Saturday evening, Conan O'Brien's annual Christmas party is one of the most exclusive events in Hollywood, invitation only. A-listers only. Adam Sandler jokes every year that he only goes for the ham. This year, Rob and Michele Reiner receive an invitation. They want to go. But they have a problem. Nick. They can't leave Nick alone. They're worried about him. His behavior has been erratic. They don't trust what might happen if they're not there to supervise, so Rob and Michele ask Conan, "Can we bring Nick as our guest? We want to keep an eye on him." Conan agrees. Of course. These are his friends, Rob, Michele, and Nick arrive at the party around 8 p.m. Inside the party is buzzing. Celebrities everywhere. Conversation. Laughter. Christmas music. Rob fits right in. He's in his element. Talking to old friends. Reminiscing about the old days. Michele is socializing too. Warm. Friendly. Everyone loves Michele, but Nick is different. Multiple guests notice him immediately. One source describes Nick as looking anxious and uncomfortable in a way that deeply unsettled people. He's wearing scruffy clothes. Not dressed for a Hollywood party. He looks out of place. He's not engaging with anyone. Just standing alone. Watching, staring at people. It's unnerving. The Bill Hader incident. At one point, Nick walks up to Bill Hader. Bill is in the middle of a conversation with 2 other guests. They're talking. Laughing. Nick just walks up and interrupts. Doesn't say, "Excuse me." Doesn't wait for a pause in the conversation. Just barges in. Bill Hader, always polite, says, "Hey, this is a private conversation." Nick doesn't respond. He just stands there, staring at Bill. Silence. It goes on for what feels like forever. Then, suddenly, Nick storms off. Bill and the other guests exchange uncomfortable looks. What was that about? Are you famous? Throughout the night, multiple guests report that Nick is walking around asking people, "Are you famous?" He's eavesdropping on conversations. Standing too close. Making people uncomfortable. This is a party full of famous people. Actors. Directors. Comedians. and Nick is going up to them asking if they're famous. It's bizarre. Unsettling. People start avoiding him. The argument with Rob. At some point during the night, Rob and Nick get into an argument. Multiple sources at the party confirm it happened. It's loud. Loud enough that other guests can hear it. Rob is upset with Nick. Embarrassed by his behavior. You're acting inappropriately. You need to stop. Nick doesn't take it well. They argue. Back and forth. Rob trying to calm Nick down. Nick getting more agitated. Eventually, Rob and Michele decide it's time to leave. They make their apologies to Conan. Thank him for the party, and they leave. Taking Nick with them. It's around midnight. The drive from Pacific Palisades to their home in Brentwood is about 15 minutes. They arrive home. Go inside, and then, in the early morning hours of December 14th, something terrible happens. December 14th, 2025. Approximately 3 to 4 a.m., we don't know exactly what happened inside the Reiner home that night, because the only people who were there are Rob, Michele, and Nick, and Rob and Michele are dead. What we know from the district attorney, Rob and Michele Reiner were killed in approximately the early morning hours of December 14th. Both were fatally stabbed with a dangerous and deadly weapon, a knife, multiple sharp force injuries. Meaning they were stabbed multiple times. The attack happened in their home. In their bedroom, Rob was 78 years old. Michele was 70. They didn't stand a chance. 4 a.m. The hotel. Around 4 a.m., a man checks into the Pierside Santa Monica Hotel. It's about 15 minutes from the Reiners' Brentwood home. The man is wearing a green jacket, jeans, and a baseball cap. He's carrying a red backpack. He looks tweaked out, according to hotel staff. Anxious. Disheveled. The man's name, Nick Reiner. He checks in. Goes to his room, and then something happens in that hotel room, something that will later become evidence. The blood. Hotel staff later discover something horrifying in Nick's room. The shower is full of blood. The bed has bloodstains. The sheets are covering the windows, like Nick was trying to block out the light. Or hide. This isn't just a little blood. This is significant, enough that hotel staff immediately reported. 9 p.m. The gas station. Later that day, December 14th. Around 9 p.m., surveillance cameras at an Arco gas station in downtown Los Angeles capture Nick Reiner. He's near the USC campus. Wearing the same green jacket, jeans, and baseball cap, he's buying a Gatorade. He looks disheveled. Out of it, but he's moving around. Still free. Police don't know yet that Rob and Michele are dead. 3 p.m. The discovery. Earlier that afternoon, around 3 p.m., Rob and Michele's daughter Romy goes to her parents' house. She has a key. She walks in, and she finds her father's body in the master bedroom, Rob Reiner. Legendary director. Her father. Lying there. Dead. Romy screams. Calls 911, my father, he's dead. I think my mother is too. Police and paramedics arrive within minutes. They find both Rob and Michele. Both stabbed to death. It's immediately clear this is a homicide. 9:15 p.m. The arrest. 6 hours after Rob and Michele's bodies are discovered, police locate Nick Reiner. He's in Exposition Park. Near the University of Southern California campus, police approach him. Arrest him without incident. Nick Reiner, you're under arrest for murder. Nick doesn't resist. Doesn't run. Doesn't say anything. He's taken into custody, booked on suspicion of 2 counts of murder, held without bail. The evidence. Police execute a search warrant on the Reiners' Brentwood home. What they find: blood throughout the master bedroom, evidence of a violent struggle, the murder weapon, believed to be a knife, not yet publicly disclosed. They also searched Nick's hotel room at the Pierside Santa Monica Hotel. What they find: blood in the shower, bloodstains on the bed, sheets covering the windows, Nick's belongings. Forensic analysts test the blood. It matches Rob and Michele Reiner. Nick had his parents' blood in his hotel room. The timeline. Prosecutors piece together the timeline. 11 p.m., December 13th. Rob, Michele, and Nick leave Conan O'Brien's party. Midnight, December 13th to 14th. They arrive home in Brentwood. 3 to 4 a.m., December 14th. Rob and Michele are murdered. 4 a.m., December 14th. Nick checks into Pierside Santa Monica Hotel. 3 p.m., December 14th. Romy discovers her parents' bodies. 9 p.m., December 14th. Surveillance captures Nick at gas station. 9:15 p.m., December 14th. Nick arrested near USC campus. December 16th, 2025. The charges: Los Angeles County District Attorney Nathan Hochman announces formal charges. Nick Reiner is charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder, special circumstance, multiple murders, special allegation, personal use of a dangerous and deadly weapon, knife, if convicted, life in prison without possibility of parole, or the death penalty. The DA has not yet decided whether to pursue the death penalty. December 17, 2025. The first court appearance. Nick Reiner appears in court for the first time. He's represented by Alan Jackson, a high-profile defense attorney known for celebrity cases. Nick speaks only 3 words during the hearing: "Yes, Your Honor." He waives his right to a speedy trial. Jackson asks for more time to review evidence. Nick does not enter a plea. He's held without bail. January 7, 2026. The attorney withdraws. Minutes before Nick's scheduled arraignment, Alan Jackson withdraws from the case. He cites confidential communication as the reason. This is unusual. High-profile attorneys don't just drop cases like this. Speculation. Nick may have confessed something to Jackson that Jackson couldn't ethically continue representing him on. Or there's a conflict of interest. Or Nick wants to plead guilty and Jackson disagrees. We don't know. It's sealed. Nick is appointed a public defender. His arraignment is rescheduled for February 23, 2026. February 23, 2026. The plea. Nick Reiner appears in court again. This time, he enters a plea, not guilty. He's ordered to remain in custody without bail. His next court appearance, April 29, 2026, for a preliminary hearing. As of March 2026, the case is ongoing. Trial has not yet been scheduled. The Reiner children speak. On December 17, 2025, Rob and Michele's surviving children, Jake and Romy, release a joint statement. Words cannot even begin to describe the unimaginable pain we are experiencing every moment of the day. They weren't just our parents, they were our best friends. We now ask for respect and privacy, for speculation to be tempered with compassion and humanity, and for our parents to be remembered for the incredible lives they lived and the love they gave. Jake and Romy don't mention Nick by name, but the pain is evident. Their brother allegedly killed their parents. How do you process that? Tracy Reiner, Rob's daughter from Penny Marshall, speaks. Tracy Reiner, Rob's adopted daughter from his marriage to Penny Marshall, tells NBC News, "I came from the greatest family ever. I don't know what to say. I'm in shock." Tracy had seen her father the day before he died. He was healthy, happy, and then, suddenly, he was gone. Hollywood mourns. The reaction from Hollywood is immediate and overwhelming. Billy Crystal, Larry David, Martin Short, Albert Brooks, Barry Levinson, joint statement. There is no other director who has his range. He was always at the top of his game. He charmed audiences. They trusted him. Michele and Rob devoted a great deal of their lives for the betterment of our fellow citizens. Jane Fonda, I saw them the night before last looking healthy and happy. I am reeling with grief. Conan O'Brien, in an interview with The New Yorker, I was in shock. I think about how Rob felt about things happening in the country, how involved he was, how much he put himself out there, and to have that voice go quiet in an instant is still hard for me to comprehend. Conan continues, to make one great movie is impressive. To make 2 means you're one of the greats. To make 7, in, like, a 9-year, 10-year period, is insanity. The Oscars tribute. On March 15, 2026, the Academy Awards includes a tribute to Rob Reiner. They show clips from his films. Stand By Me. The Princess Bride. When Harry Met Sally, the audience gives him a standing ovation, but it's bittersweet, because Rob should have been there. In the audience. Watching. Alive, instead, he's gone. Murdered by his own son. Why did this happen? The question everyone is asking. Why? Why would Nick kill his parents? Theories. 1. Mental illness. Nick has schizophrenia. He's been in and out of treatment. He was on medication, but friends say the medication made him out of his head. Maybe he stopped taking it. Maybe he had a psychotic break. Mental illness doesn't excuse murder. But it might explain it, too. Drug use. Nick has a long history of drug addiction. 18 rehab stays by age 30. Friends say he was supposedly off drugs. But others say he was not so much off them. Maybe he relapsed. Maybe he was high when he killed them. 3. The argument at the party. The argument at Conan's party was loud. Public. Embarrassing. Maybe Nick was humiliated. Maybe he was angry. Maybe when they got home, the argument continued, and maybe it escalated. 4. Refusal to go to rehab. Friends say Rob and Michele wanted Nick to go to a facility for treatment. Nick refused. He wanted to stay home. They've been arguing about this for years. Maybe on December 14th, they gave him an ultimatum: go to rehab or leave. And maybe Nick snapped. The defense strategy. Nick has pleaded not guilty. What will his defense be? Insanity defense. Nick was not in his right mind. Schizophrenia, drug use, mental breakdown. He didn't know what he was doing. This is the most likely defense. But it's hard to prove. Nick checked into a hotel after the murders. He tried to clean up. He fled. That suggests he knew what he did was wrong. Diminished capacity. He knew what he was doing, but couldn't control it. Mental illness reduced his ability to form intent. This might get him life without parole instead of the death penalty. Will Nick get the death penalty? California has the death penalty on the books, but Governor Gavin Newsom has imposed a moratorium. No executions are being carried out. However, prosecutors can still seek the death penalty. And juries can still impose it. The DA hasn't decided yet whether to pursue it in Nick's case. Factors that favor death penalty. 2 victims, his own parents, especially heinous. Premeditation. He brought parents home, then killed them. Factors against death penalty. Mental illness, drug addiction, no prior violent crimes. California hasn't executed anyone in years. Most likely outcome, life without parole. What about the hotel? The Pierside Santa Monica Hotel is cooperating with police. They handed over the bloody sheets, the bloody towels from the shower, surveillance footage, check-in records. This evidence will be critical at trial. Nick's blood-soaked hotel room shows he tried to clean himself up after the murders. That's evidence of consciousness of guilt. Rob Reiner was 78 years old. He directed some of the most beloved films in American cinema. He made us laugh, made us cry, made us believe in true love and friendship and standing up for what's right. He was an icon. Michele Singer Reiner was 70 years old. She was a photographer, a producer, an advocate for LGBTQ rights. She spent her life fighting for equality, for justice, for love. She was a force for good. On December 14, 2025, they were both stabbed to death in their home, and their son, Nick Reiner, is charged with their murders. Nick struggled his whole life with addiction, with mental illness, with demons his parents tried to help him fight. Rob and Michele never gave up on him. They supported him. They brought him to that Christmas party because they wanted to keep an eye on him. They were trying to protect him, and less than 12 hours later, he allegedly killed them. The case is ongoing. Nick has pleaded not guilty. His trial will likely happen in late 2026, and the world will watch. Because Rob Reiner wasn't just a victim, he was a legend, and his story, how it began, how it ended, will be told in courtrooms and in the media for years to come. But for those of us who grew up watching his films, we'll remember him differently. We'll remember the boy who came of age looking for a dead body. We'll remember the grandfather reading a story to his grandson about true love. We'll remember the cynical man who finally believed in destiny. We'll remember the line, "You can't handle the truth." We'll remember Rob Reiner, not for how he died, but for how he lived, and for the films he gave us. The trial of Nick Reiner is expected to begin in late 2026. As of March 2026, the case is ongoing. This is case unknown. Sometimes, the person you're trying to save is the person who destroys you. And sometimes, a Christmas party is the last night you'll ever spend with someone you love.